Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. How are you?
I am doing all right. I'm very excited to hear the TV show that you have to pitch, because that's what we do each week. We pitch a new TV show straight from our brains into your ears, the humble listener.
Well, probably not straight. You know, there's a middleman, which is the audio medium.
The podcast pasteurization.
The podcast platform you're listening to, I guess, is also a middleman. A lot of middlemen in this chain of between our brain and your brain.
But it's good though. It's the pasteurization process by which the podcast is made suitable for human consumption.
Yep, we're like the 2% milk of podcasts.
We are the cows of podcasting.
Nah, who am I kidding? We're not 2%. We're like skim milk.
We're bad. We're like milk that's about to be cheese. We're goat milk. We're not even a good kind of milk.
Wow.
Can you drink goat milk? Like, I know that you can probably physically drink it, but like, do people drink goat milk?
Yeah, I do every day.
Oh. How is it?
I don't. Why would I drink goat milk? How do you buy goat milk?
Where
do you buy goat?
I think you have to buy a goat.
Do you have a goat?
Not yet, but now that now that I know it's a source of meat, fur, cheese, and milk, I might invest in a pregnant goat.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can change this to the Very Reasonable Goat podcast.
I honestly might get more listeners.
Maybe.
Or how about this? I get the VRP logo shaved into the side of the goat, and then we get really big on Instagram because we have like a cute goat pet.
And then we go to jail for animal cruelty.
We would shave it into the fur of the goat, not like brand it or whatever. We wouldn't give the goat a tattoo.
I'm not saying that's why we would go to jail for animal cruelty.
It's because we're keeping a goat inside this 6x6 room that we both live in with this cake from last week it's rotting away.
He'd probably eat all of our food.
He would shit everywhere. Oh my god, it smells so bad in here. It already smells so bad in here.
Man, it smells awful.
Yeah. He wouldn't know to use the corner like we do.
Yeah. Our shit buckets.
Yeah. So you have a podcast to pitch me?
A podcast to pitch you?
Yeah, you've got a podcast to pitch me? That's what you're saying?
I don't have a podcast, but I do have a TV show pilot.
Oh, a TV show pilot. Even better. Let's hear it. What's it about?
Well, I'm going back on one of my old cliches, which is the relationship that I still think is the best in cinema, which is the non-biological father-daughter relationship, who find each other in a apocalyptic landscape, and the not father has to raise his not daughter.
The Last of Us sort of situation, or
Last of Us, or
Logan,
Quiet Place Part 2.
Is that what
Logan,
happens in that movie?
That's another one. They do it all the time, but
really
it's the best, so.
Probably Obi-Wan Kenobi in that new Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's being made.
How would it be Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I don't know, it's because he's gonna get a surrogate daughter person.
How is he gonna, how do you know that?
I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like that's not
like
a
Luke's
bad
a boy, so that doesn't count, and Luke he only really knows for like 3 months.
Yeah, but I bet there's gonna be a young female adventurer who teams up with Obi-Wan, and he, loves her like a daughter.
I thought he would just be alone the whole movie. The whole TV show is him in his hut crying.
I would love it if it was him in his hut shooting up heroin, and all of the Star Wars movies are actually prequels to Trainspotting and T2 Trainspotting 2.
Damn,
that would be good. Yeah, there you go.
Disney's gonna shoot you. They're gonna take you out.
He's gonna get that rat tail back. I hope he has the rat tail back. That would be great.
I hope not. He's got the sweet Obi-Wan Kenobi hair.
Yeah, he's gonna have that mullet and that beard. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
So the genre that I wrote this as is Victorian magic post-apocalypse dimensional horror show.
Like a steampunk sort of magic world?
Well, it starts off as the normal world in history. Victorian times. We're following Dr. Ralph Dahl, who's a very mild-mannered British archaeologist. Classic-looking guy. He's got the khaki button-down with the cool, like, Indiana Jones-style hat. He's academic, very, like, smart person. But he's not completely incapable.
Yeah.
He was a boxer in college, but he was the worst boxer at his university.
Oh,
so he's bottom tier when it comes to that. But he's in there. I kind of imagined him like Dr. Watson from Sherlock Holmes mixed with Ralph Fiennes' character in Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh.
So he's like capable like Dr. Watson is and smart like he is, but he's got the humor of a Wes Anderson movie.
Okay, so he's making dry, witty retorts, comments, pointing out things. Okay, yeah, he's a dry, witty sort of guy, and he's got like some skills, but he's nowhere near like he's not an action man. He's not an Indiana Jones or what's that? There are a bunch of other like classic adventurers from the Victorian times. Can't remember any of their names right now. Pretty much, he's not like anyone in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No, he's just a dude.
He's just a dude. He's probably got that big fun explorer hat that they have from Victorian times.
So he's in like his 30s to 40s.
What's the facial hair situation like?
Facial hair?
Yeah, I think mustache and
clean shaven at the beginning. Okay. Completely clean shaven.
Okay.
Because I need the time to raggle him.
Yeah. Raggle him.
Raggle him.
Ew,
I like
don't
that
say
word, raggle. I don't think
like
that's a real word, but I like raggle.
It is a good word. I don't think it's a real word, but it is a good one.
First episode.
Yeah.
So I originally wrote the pilot out as the very beginning of the occurrence that happens, but I think it'd be better to start kind of after the big event happens. I'll explain what I mean by that in a sec. Anyway, so the pilot begins with Ralph in his archaeology uniform wandering through a fiery mixed dimension streets of Cairo. So it's mixed with the worlds of normal Victorian times.
Yeah. Lots of
some medieval horrible existence, some sort of vampire world, like all these like different
weird
magical and like normal looking and historical dimensions are all like combined.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like different pieces of them have sort of layered into each other. So it's kind of like a tapestry that's been, maybe like a quilt that has a bunch of patches all over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where yeah, like a patchwork like world of different dimensions and like technologies and like science and stuff. And you get like...
But nothing like futuristic.
Yeah, no
it's
sci-fi
all
stuff.
Fantasy or old-timey or Victorian.
Yeah, like,
maybe a little steampunky, but not too futuristic.
They could probably have those like automatons that are like clockwork robots, but they can't like think or talk, but they can like serve drinks and stuff. Or
swing giant swords.
You could be having an execution happen in the first scene where he's walking through the streets, and in the back there's just like this regular looking guy, and he's in one of those things where they like chain you up, and next to him and have your head in like position next to him is like this weird like bug man, like a prawn from District 9. And he's got like an eye patch, and he's like, well, I'll just grow another one. And the normal guy's like, shit. And giant automaton robots slice both their heads off.
Yeah, exactly. And there's, tons of these weird creatures, demon wolves, knights, ogres, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Talking dogs.
And in the middle of this, there's also, like, British line infantry.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is still Victorian times. So, and there's, everyone's fighting and stuff. So it's like complete chaos, anarchy. Ralph will run up to the British line infantry because he's like, I'm British,
Yeah.
We're all on the same side. He gets there.
Cheerio.
And the British people are all, they're stereotypically old British, where they're not really fazed emotionally by the situation.
Yeah.
And they all seem convinced that these are all that all these people are French. They're like, damn it, the French are coming for Cairo.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
We thought we beat back Napoleon, but they're coming back again,
That's funny. Because I 100% could believe that if aliens invaded the world in Victorian era, British people would just be like, I guess that's what a Chinese person looks like, or whatever.
They just, blame it on the French.
Yeah,
because
it's easy.
They hate the French.
Everyone hates the French.
And I was thinking that some guy would be saying this to Ralph. A funny joke would be like, someone's saying this to Ralph, and like, these goddamn French, I can't stand them. The frickin', and he's about to say frogs, but then he gets eaten by a giant toad.
Oh, fun. And it's in Egypt, so it could be like a reference to the plagues.
I was just making a French joke because they call them the frogs.
Okay.
But that also works.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay.
You can read it on a lot of different levels. The
differences between what we were thinking, you going like historically minded and me going with the cheap French insult.
Yeah, well, I mean, they deserve it. If there's any people in the world that deserve the cheap insults, it's the French.
It's the French.
It's the Americans, and then it's the French.
No, it's the French first. No one likes them.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Parisians in particular. Normal French people, they're probably okay.
They're probably nice enough. Nobody likes
Anyway, so Ralph, running away, because he's not a coward, but
this is crazy.
I mean, this is insanity. So he's not gonna really, give this a shot. And this entire time, by the way, he's holding this staff, this wooden, it looks like a big branch that he's holding, but you can tell that he's holding it with some need and some fear, because it's like he can't let go of it, but he's afraid to use it. And so he's running from all the monsters, and he gets cornered in the side streets of Cairo, and he has all manner of crazy, freaky monsters and things in front of him at the edge of the street, and you can see them, maybe a close-up of the staff in his face, and he's scared to use it. And the monster lunges for him, and he stabs the staff down, and we see a ball of fire erupt, and everything goes to black. And you'll wake up in a hole, probably a good couple feet down, all burnt. All the monsters around him are gone. The buildings around him are gone as well.
Okay.
And he gets up. He's all drained and tired, and the city's kind of calmed down, because this was clearly the beginning of the happening, which I'll explain in a second. And he's freaking out, but he's kind of safe now, because mostly the city's kind of dead. The fighting happened and it's over. And he's going through the wreckage looking for food, and he finds a very pale-skinned, almost blue girl crying, and she asks what happened to everything, and he's like, I have no idea. And that's the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
Picks the second episode, I think, is where we explain what happens.
Yeah.
So it's going to bring me a flashback. So he's going to be working in Egypt at a dig site, writing home to his wife, who's a famous landscape painter named Margaret. And he's going to exit his tent and find his men have found this rock that looks strange. It doesn't look Earth-like, and the rock is sort of phasing in and out. And behind him in the shot, you can see the sky is turning red and then back to normal and then blue, and it's changing colors, and you can see buildings in the background appear and disappear. It's very obvious that there's some sort of phasing between different dimensions happening behind him, but he's so focused on the dig that he doesn't notice it really.
He's just looking at the rock, and he's being like, this is good rock.
And so they're digging out, and they find it's a tomb, and the other men start leaving because they're panicking because they're realizing what's happening. But he's so singularly focused on his work.
He's probably rappelling down as they're he's setting up the rappel line down into the tomb. Yeah. And they're like, we gotta get out of here, man. This I'm gonna go home to my families. This is not looking good. And he's like, you cowards.
He's like, I gotta go. Yeah. And maybe it's kind of like that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where Indiana Jones goes down to that big, like rappels down to that big chamber.
And he like lands, you know, and he's just like, all right, this is pretty good, you know.
It's weird. It's also like, it's not Egyptian, which is what's surprising him the most.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like anything he's ever seen before. And at the end of the hall, he finds the long wooden tree branch staff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what is this artifact? It's so strange. And he grabs it as it like phases in and out. And he grabs it when it phases in.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, his eyes like light up yellow, and flames like shoot out from the top of the staff.
Okay. Ooh, magic staff. Magic fire staff.
Yes, magic fire staff. But you see, the show is about how he realizes that the staff is cursed.
Mm-hmm.
So every time he uses the staff, he starts to lose his mind.
Oh.
So
like
it's
an
like
ice
a
king.
chunk goes away.
Yeah,
like from Adventure Time.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. And he's,
That was my inspiration for the staff. I was trying to, because I like the idea of losing his mind.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm imagining this show is having, and I know they're from different time periods, but The Mummy, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, I imagine having a very similar aesthetic. You know, everything's sandy and it's got kind of like an orange color grade over it. But there's just like a lot of weird, cool stuff happening in the background, and it's like a very richly textured world. And maybe in the flashback, he can have like no facial hair, and then, you know, first episode he's got a bit of a scraggle, nothing, you know, crazy. It's a bit of a you know, 5 o'clock shadow sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, you know, he picks up the girl, puts her in his arms, and like walks out of the crater holding her, and that's how the first episode ends. Second episode.
But she's not in the crater too. She's
yeah, she's outside.
He gets out himself, you know, uses the staff to like a cane kind of.
Yeah.
Because when he uses it, it drains all of his energy, but he also loses his mind as well.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So he starts to go a little cuckoo every time he uses it. And the story is Ralph and Violet. Violet's the girl. She's about 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Is it because she looks violet? She's violet colored because she's so pale.
I didn't pick that name because of that, but that works.
Damn, there's so many layers to this show that you didn't even intend. Death of the author. Good job.
Yep. She's very unaware of what's happened. She was too young, really, to get a full grasp of her world before the conjunction happened.
So she's not from...
she's not from...
his dimension. They're from two different dimensions.
All right. World. She's from one of the other ones.
Yeah. Is she
it's
human?
Sort of combined.
Or is she she look normal? Or is she like a bit...
Well, she's very
fucky?
pale. She's not like... I didn't want to go with some cliche thing like a werewolf or a vampire, you know?
Yeah. So
she has immortality and sort of like increased strength, but she's not a... she's not...
I mean, if you want to go...
She's like humanoid, so she's like a advanced human figure.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go weird with it, you can have her be like a sort of like a gremlin thing, where her like skin is really stretched, and her like she's very gaunt and skinny, but she's also very muscular. Like that's how their people are supposed to look. And maybe she doesn't grow hair, so she's like this little bald girl. And just throughout the series, like, you know, to show that they're getting along, like he'll get her a wig, you know, and she can start try and blend in more with everyone else. Or not it because everything's weird, but she wants to look more like her dad.
Maybe that's what her people look like normally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because she's young, and maybe her people have some sort of light shape-shifting ability, but as she grows and develops, her normal form becomes humanoid.
Yeah.
More human, because she lives with Ralph, and Ralph's her like dad. So she starts to look like Ralph's daughter would, because she was raised by him.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. Imagine if like your genetics weren't defined by who your parents were, but who raised you.
Yeah, like the very definition of nurture v nature, where nurture creates nature, right? That would be cool. And maybe we can have it like in the second season, she's separated from him for an extended period of time and begins taking on physical and like mental characteristics of the people that she's with. You know, could be like an escape party, or she's been kidnapped, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Well, I was thinking it mainly as a developmental thing.
Mm-hmm.
So because she spends time with him, her characteristic get locked as a normal human person.
Yeah.
Like the way she appears.
Mm-hmm.
But she still has the advanced strength and life of a normal person.
Yeah,
When I say advanced strength, I don't mean like...
she can't lift a car with one
she's
hand.
not Superman.
Yeah. But she can...
She's just like...
She
about as strong as Ralph is as a child.
Yeah, she could pick up, like, if you've got, like, a girder on you, she could probably pick it up, you know? Like...
Maybe not when she's a child. Maybe she needs to be an adult to fully get
that girder.
Powers.
Get that girder strength.
And she has some sort of magical affinity as well, but as a child, it doesn't really play into it at all.
Maybe
she's just a kid, so she doesn't really know anything about the world. And Ralph is her guide and protector.
Maybe she can...
And their journey is they're in Egypt, and Ralph wants to find out what happens to his wife. You know, the whole world just flipped upside down.
Yeah,
he needs to find his wife, who's back in England. So their journey takes them to England, and so they'll go through Europe and maybe Turkey and
they'll ride up through Europe
and stuff.
We can do a fun thing where like the Eiffel Tower has been turned into like is there an Eiffel Tower?
Maybe. I don't know.
It depends, but maybe it's like a partially constructed Eiffel Tower that like Paris is flooded, and so like everything is above the water, like it's all just like bridges, like rope bridges and everything, and like the Eiffel Tower is this huge like market bazaar place where you get like all sorts of crazy stuff, and people are able to like magically teleport to the tippy top because it's got like a special rock on it, and they need to get that rock for some such reason, right? To guarantee passage
across the English Channel.
Across the English Channel, which since the conversion has become the most dangerous bit of water in the world, in the known world. It's like
I was also the England has become like complete hellscape when they get there. Yeah. It is gothic vampire like undead horror place. It's like the worst place in the entire world. Some places weren't too bad after the conjunction, I'm gonna call it, but England was hit the worst.
And maybe it's like, you've seen Bloodborne, right? You know the game Bloodborne?
Yes, I've heard of it. It's
like Dark Souls, but it's Victorian era London, and it's like very much kind of what you're describing, where I think it'd be cool if the entire island was this huge mega city that's like thousands and thousands of people, millions of people, and they all live in like just one enormous slum that stretches the entire city, and there's like London is still the place to be, and it's like this huge capital that's on top of everything, but then the entire rest of the island is like a huge slum, and you know there are parts of the UK that are just like destroyed, like they're just watery or you know, wastelands.
So kind of like how it is now.
Yeah, kind of like exactly what I'm looking outside the window and seeing. Okay. Yeah.
That's good. Not super original, Charles. Jeez.
I'm saving my originality for my pitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're just floating mine or sinking mine so you can float yours.
Yeah, I'm dropping holes. I'm dropping rocks in this lifeboat and getting holes in the floor.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to tie a balloon to it real quick.
All right. Good.
So as they're journeying upward to England, north, Ralph continually loses his mind more and more. Yeah. And by the time they get to England, he's on a thread. There's not much left because he has to continually use the magic of the staff to defend them. And when they get to the island,
all sorts of crazy stuff.
The final straw is when they get to his house, where Margaret is supposed to be, and they find that she died in the very beginning.
Oh no!
Like, you know, we probably won't show it well because, you know, you don't want to see his dead wife, but
maybe
like she
got
died
trapped
right away when the phasing happened because, you know,
a big rock fell on her.
Big rock was there or something. Big rock phased into where she was painting.
Yeah. Or maybe she was trapped somewhere, so she starved to death. Because, you know, that would be a pretty good image if we finally got there and she had like this journal written, and like her body was just in the corner and it was all like dehydrated and everything and just a skeleton. And she has
the
this
journal would be cool.
So that you could like
it could describe like her whole life and, you know, her relationship with Ralph and you know, how she felt in those days without him and she was dying.
And like what weird shit she saw out the window, because I'm imagining it's in like a Doctor Strange style, like huge window place. Like there's just this huge round window at the front and she's at the top and that's where she likes to paint from. It's like this huge tower, and then after the convergence, the huge tower gets like precariously placed on top of something. Like, I don't know. So think of something weird and cool this could be.
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Yeah. A second Big Ben gets from a universe where...
A second gothic Big Ben.
Yeah.
More gothic Big Ben.
A bigger clock gets phased in, and the tower is just precariously sitting on top of it, so she can see everything that's going on down there, but she can't get out, and no one's gonna save her. And like, they could do a bunch of cool stuff to get a ride up there. Like they have to befriend a flying dragon who speaks, you know, Vietnamese.
Yep, unfortunately Ralph speaks Vietnamese.
Yeah, so match made in heaven. And then he falls in love with the dragon. Now that he's back on the market.
No. Well, he's about to. It's about to go poorly for Ralph.
Yeah.
In this narrative, so no more love for him. Anyway, and as they're going, you know, to England, they're also going to be dealing with Violet's dad, who is, of course, evil, and
of course,
Violet sort of explains her childhood, and once all of her brothers and sisters reached a certain age, they always disappeared. They lived in some gothic castle in what's now London, but was previously...
Transylvania.
The only difference previously between... Egypt.
Oh,
wait, no.
Okay.
She lived in a castle that like was like, you know, Transylvania-ish. I don't know why I said Egypt, but it's in the area that London is in. You know what I mean? Because they had to, you know, doesn't move it geographically where things are, the conjunction. It just phased the worlds, you know, on top of each other where they are. Like the globe is still the globe.
And it's still really fucked up. We can get like the final shot of the season could be like a zoom out to the planet, and you see just all sorts of crazy stuff happening on all of the continents.
Except for America. America's fine.
America's fine?
Definitely fine.
Yeah, good.
Totally fine over there.
All right.
Nothing's wrong.
I'm glad. Like the moon.
It's just the Eastern Hemisphere. It's messed up.
Okay, good.
West is not good. North America and South America just totally fine. Nothing's wrong.
Just normal. It's just normal.
Completely every day. They're like, damn, those Europeans and
those crazy Europeans.
Africans
I wonder where my
and Asian
spices
people and
are coming
Russians,
from.
you know, they're all just they're having some fun or something.
They're doing some weird stuff. There's dragons. There's like Bigfoots. There's everything's dark and spooky. London's got this just permanent malaise over everything. Don't know if it's the smog or just the city itself that creates this like air of sadness, right?
We're like good riddance over in the U.S.
Yeah, and
anyway,
the U.S. is just cowboys.
That's a joke. It's probably still screwed up over there too.
Yeah, probably like a giant icicle monster, like an iceberg, came to life, and it's been slowly crawling its way across North America. So North America is just being slowly crushed and frozen to death, like half an inch a day.
Yeah, it's really slow.
Really slow, but like kind of terrifying.
Like if you live on the East Coast, you're probably fine for your life.
Yeah. Oh, people could
kids are probably fine for their life.
Build like houses into the side of the iceberg.
That'd be cool.
So you have just like this huge. The only city in the country is just this really
massive
long
moving
city.
iceberg city.
Yeah, that would be good. But that's for season 2.
That's season 3.
Season 3.
Season 8. Anyway, so as I was saying, Violet had many siblings, but once they reached, we'll say 15, they would always disappear. And when she was 10, which is the age she was when they first, she first met Ralph and the whole conjunction happened, her mother stole her away, and they went to what is Egypt in our world. And that's when the conjunction happened.
Yeah.
Her mother died in the chaos, and she was left alone. And as they are going through the world, Ralph and Violet, they find that her father is sending, people to get her. Because her father is alive. Her father survived the conjunction.
Yeah.
And he still has maintained his power. And he's sort of like the head honcho in London. He's got this, evil army.
He's like a cult leader. Maybe it could be like he's the religious advisor, spiritual advisor to the, monarch in London. And so he's
I was thinking he is the guy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So he's Mr. Evil.
He's the big bad.
He's the top big bad there is.
Yeah, and he's got this, maybe he's it's this religious fundamentalist cult that's taken over London's higher society. And so the regular people, nothing really has changed, but occasionally someone gets shamed, in that one episode of Game of Thrones where they walk you naked through the city and throw tomatoes at you. That sort of thing happens every once in a while, but it's still pretty normal for the people, as normal as a weird multi-dimensional patchwork Earth could be.
Well, it's still he's very tyrannical, execute people left and right as well. So
Oh yeah,
we're going full crazy.
He's an
evil dictator
here.
He's a
big bad guy, this guy.
Imagine very gothic, night looking as well for all his underlings. Black armor, stuff like that. And his character, the way he works is he actually caused the conjunction. Because his race of people, his bloodline, which includes Violet, can absorb the powers of other mystical creatures, right? And he sort of conquered his dimension, his world. And so he caused it so that he could get more worlds, more powers, and stuff like that. So he sort of sucks their soul and he gets their stuff, But he needs his daughter because he needs someone of his bloodline to continue his immortal life.
Okay. Maybe he's made a deal.
So he's not immortal, but his wife was immortal. And they had kids, and now he sucks the things of his
He's
kids.
drinking their blood or whatever.
Kind of like vampire-ish, but their soul,
They're all their essence, that he eats their brains with a spoon.
All right, so you have that context now. So these people have been chasing them for their whole journey up.
Yeah.
And now they're in England, which is the center of his power, which was definitely a bad idea by Ralph, but he really wanted to see Margaret. And the sort of the climax and the genesis of the second season and the ending of the first season is the father confronts his daughter Violet and Ralph in London because he needs to get his daughter back, probably near Margaret's house, after they leave.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the moment where it's kind of over for Ralph because he has to defend Violet because it's essentially his daughter now. Cares for her immensely. And but he's on the edge of his sanity. So this is the moment that he, goes crazy with his powers to hold back.
Lets it all out.
Lets it all out so Violet can run away. So in exchange for Violet's safety so that she can flee, he loses his mind completely. And he's just a crazy, rambling...
lunatic
with a fire staff and madness pouring out of his eyes.
Yeah, maybe it could be like a like Yennefer in the Witcher series when she controls the fire or whatever, and she destroys an entire army. Maybe it's this whole fleet battalion. I was thinking of Zeppelin battleships, kind of. This whole battalion that's chasing them down, and it's what's his fucking name again? I just had it in my head. Ralph. It's Ralph. And he's like, go with the, Wonder Dragon that took us here. Like, take her as far away from here as you can. I'll hold him off. And then it's just like this huge climactic, he kills like thousands of people and all this stuff. And they were able to get away, and she's like crying. And there's like dramatic music playing over, and you can't hear anything that's being said, but you know what's happening. And then, he passes out because he uses all of his energy with the staff. They get away, but he gets... Well,
see, the energy with the staff thing, that mainly is going to come from his sanity still left. So after he becomes mad, there's not really a depletion. But he's crazy, so he doesn't really know how to use it like a sane person. And the way I was sort of imagining it ended with them is that her father will be the last one standing after his army got wiped out by this mad guy. And he'll, not really be affected by the powers because he's tough as well. So he's fighting up to him. And eventually he'll get up to him and he'll try to suck the powers out of Ralph, but because Ralph's powers are derived from complete madness, it's gonna, severely hurt Violet's father.
Okay.
And so he's gonna be kind of out of commission, and that's where the show ends. So it seems like he maybe killed him, but he didn't, because that's season 2.
Okay.
But Ralph has lost his mind. Violet's on the run.
Maybe is Ralph been captured by Violet's father?
No, he's not captured. He's flying off insane.
Using like he's turned the fire staff upside down and he stood on it and he's just like
riding a fire surfboard.
Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe not a surfboard. Maybe he's just like holding onto the staff and like flying up, like a witch. That's what. But
he's completely bonkers now. He's saying things that don't make any sense. Random lines of poetry, maybe we could have him like just random lines of Shakespeare dialogue and stuff like that.
He's flying over like a town, so he's really fucked up because he's setting all these people on fire in the town to get away.
Well, he's not like evil though. He's not going to be killing people.
Okay.
He's just completely...
Maybe he just burns crops.
Bonkers. And he's kind of... But the bit of him that is sane knows that he should be isolated. Very small shrivel that's left.
Yeah.
So he goes off and he lives, in the Highlands or something. Live in the iceberg.
He could go
in North America.
He could just live in the iceberg, and you can have this scene in the second season where they go and find him, and he's just like carved out this huge, enormous cave for himself of ice, but he's the only one here for miles, and he's just like, this is the only place that he's capable of just like being himself, because he's just like constantly firing fire. But it's, this huge iceberg, so it's going to take a billion years. So it doesn't hurt anyone.
But he's completely insane, so he's not making any sense.
Yeah. Is this the kind of insane where it's like it's actually all secret foreshadowing? Or is it like he's actually insane?
Maybe a mix of both. A healthy mix of both.
You got to have a little bit of secret foreshadowing.
Because then if you have the secret foreshadowing in there with the nonsense,
it
makes it more secret.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, what's happening in second season? What's the plan?
I'm going to run through it real quick because I've been talking for forever.
We have been doing this a long time.
Essentially, second season, Violet is a bit older, late teens, early 20s. And she's searching the world for a cure for Ralph.
Okay.
And she's also been developing more powers as she goes. Because she has her father's ability to
suck up people's powers.
But she only does it to evil people as opposed to like her father just does to everyone.
Yeah, she's like the Punisher of magic.
Yeah, but like not as brutal.
Or as much of a dick.
Maybe like when she does it, she can not kill them.
Yeah.
She can just take their powers, so they're powerless.
Yeah, but you get less.
But her father kills them too, because maybe he gets, I don't know, joy out of it.
He just enjoys killing. I just love killing. Like Crumbopulous Michael.
Here I go killing again.
Is that his name, Crumbopulous Michael?
It is what his name is.
That's a good call. I'm glad I was able to make that.
That's a Rick and Morty reference for the kids at home.
That's that's the first Rick and Morty reference that we've made this show ever in the history of anything. Don't listen to any rap music made within the last 4 years, or you will also hear Rick and Morty references.
Anyway,
great.
Violet is searching for the cure for Ralph because that's like her dad. And she, misses him.
Yeah.
As you do.
I don't, but you do. You miss her dad.
She does. And the whole second season is about her trying to find the cure. Learns her dad has this book that has the cure, because the cure is within this big book that sort of explains the magic of their world, which explained to him how to do the conjunction.
Maybe he's got it in like a... Because I think it would be interesting to take the finale of the second season off of the island, like off of the UK, and just like put it somewhere else, because like, wouldn't it be cool if the book was kept in like the most highest security prison that they have? And it's like in the Himalayan mountains. It's like built into a mountain as this huge high security facility that they keep all of their, most dangerous people, and she's got to like infiltrate.
It's in Mount Everest, and Mount Everest is a prison in this other world.
Yeah, she's got to like get caught, pretend to be someone else, and get sent to this prison in order to infiltrate, but they don't know that she's got like maybe she's like, to show that she's hardcore, she's like sewn a knife inside of her guts, and so she can get it out, but she's immortal, so she'll heal, it'll be good. And she's like fucking stabbing guys and stealing their power and shooting magic bolts and stuff just to get the book. And she can go meet her dad, because she thinks that he's dead, but he's actually like on all of the magical life support. It would be a pretty cool and horrifying scene if you just have him like strung up in like these tubes and wires, and like all of his organs are being operated by different machines. And he's like barely able to like focus or opening his eyes, but he's got this like magical hologram thing where like his enormous face, like an enormous version of his face, is like projected in front of this like decaying corpse, like Mr. House. Almost from New Vegas, from Fallout New Vegas. There's so many references in this episode.
Yeah, there is.
You're doing so good.
And maybe, like, because I want there to be a fight between her and her dad. Maybe it's it's kind of like an illusion, like it is in, if you've played another reference, Batman Arkham Knight. Ra's al Ghul plays this trick on Batman where he is all tied up to these machines and stuff. But once he gets a little injection, he's like, full out evil and tries to kill Batman. In this instance, maybe she starts to feel some sort of remorse for her father. Yeah. Because it's still her dad. He's sorry.
She puts her hand on him, and that's like...
And he starts to like suck her soul.
Yeah.
And so he gets a little bit of strength, and they have their big fight.
He comes back to like a quarter of his full power, but he's still like, I can still kick your ass.
Yeah, so it's an even fight in that instance.
Yeah.
And she'll win, of course, because
they'll do kung fu. It'll be good.
There'll be cool magic powers shooting everywhere, because they both have, the powers of random creatures throughout the conjoined universes.
Yeah. All sorts of magic abilities.
So, fun, cool ending fight. Defeats her father, gets the book, and the show will end with her curing Ralph. But over time through the season, we'll realize that it wasn't just 10 years between the previous season and this season. It was like thousands of years. It takes her a long time to grow and develop.
Yeah. So he's like this
species, and so Ralph is old, but not really, because the staff keeps him immortal. And so she's gonna cure Ralph, but he only has like a few days before he's gone.
And he's got like all his... We could have this thing where, we see him every once in a while. We see him like occasionally in like the corner of our eye or in a shadow, and he's like got this really long beard, really long white hair, like crazy nails. He's babbling to himself, and his eyes are like glaucoma and all this stuff. And then after she like cures him of his madness, you can have like a silver fox thing where he's like, he cleans up and he's looking all handsome.
Yeah, and they go off for
they get ice
their last
cream.
adventure together.
Yeah.
Before he dies.
Yeah, and that would be a nice ending. And, you know, she's like with him, she's holding his hand.
He's like, you know, I never found that tomb in Egypt. That's how it ends.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, Ralph, let's go find that.
Let's talk
Whatever
about
you
the
wanna
bunnies, Lenny. Talk about the bunnies. Yeah.
Roll credits.
Roll credits. That would be good. I like that show. What's the title?
I did have a title, but I don't see it in here. I don't know. I know I wrote a title, but I don't have it. We'll pretend that there's a title, and it's on the title of the episode, so there is a title.
Well, there you go. You'll be seeing it right now, folks. And thank you all.
Well, you won't. I mean, you would have seen it before you clicked on the episode, hopefully.
You saw it an hour ago, folks. Well, thank you all for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jake Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please like, follow, subscribe, give us a listen. You can rate us on Spotify now. Give us 5 out of 5 stars, and I'll give you a little kiss in your dreams. All right, so all of you have a good day. Stay safe. Get well. Bye.
Yep. Bye.